Alrighty, folks. Here's a report from NBC News. This is a funny one. Behind the scenes, Biden has grown angry and anxious about his reelection effort. President Joe Biden was seething. In a private meeting at the White House in January, allies of the president had just told him that his poll numbers in Michigan and Georgia had dropped over his handling of the war between Israel and Hamas. Both are battleground states he narrowly won 4 years ago, and he can't afford any backsliding if he is to once again defeat Donald Trump. He began to shout and swear, a lawmaker familiar with the meeting said. He believed he had been doing what was right, despite the political fallout, he told the group, according to the lawmaker. Now, I said this earlier in the stream. There is a piece that we're going to be covering tomorrow that came out in the Washington Post yesterday, which says that actually Biden's team knew that Israel wasn't sure the targets they were bombing were legitimate military targets, and they bombed them anyway. And the Biden team in public didn't mention any of that to anyone who asked them. They said, no, we trust that they are doing things the right way. So the idea that he believes he's doing what's right, you take that for what it's worth. Asked about the episode, Andrew Bates, a White House spokesman, said President Biden makes national security decisions based on the country's national security needs alone, no other factor. For months, Democrats have watched the 2024 campaign unfold with rising alarm as the sitting president struggles to gain ground against his defeated predecessor. Frustrations rippling through the party have reached the top, with Biden at times second-guessing travel decisions and communications strategies that has left much of the electorate clueless about his record. Interviews with nearly 20 lawmakers, present and past administration officials, and Biden allies show. The starting gun for the general election campaign fired last week as Biden wrapped up the Democratic nomination. Yet he is still searching for ways to impress upon voters that he deserves a second term by dint of policy achievements that eluded past presidents. History suggests it will be tough for him to recover.
When I came into office, it was $3 for a bacon, egg, and cheese. Now it's $6. No other president ever increased the price of a bacon, egg, and cheese as I did.
Yeah, exactly. Now they charge extra for lettuce and tomato. Remember that place we went and got that sandwich? They actually charged you extra for lettuce
you remember that?
Tomato. Yeah,
I was so pissed what they charged for that fucking
extra charge
sandwich.
for lettuce. Now,
What was that? What did they charge? Like $9 or something?
it was like $16
It was something
for
crazy.
a bacon, egg,
It was
and
like
cheese, and a coffee.
insane. It was insane. I was so pissed that
Yeah.
I didn't ask ahead of time, because you just don't think to ask. Hey, this isn't going to be $16,
Top
is it?
$7.
Yeah,
bacon, egg,
it just
and
wouldn't
cheese.
even cross your
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. Tops insane $10. Bacon, egg, and cheese, cup of coffee. Like $10, you'd be like, whoa.
Right.
16? Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, I had to borrow. I didn't have enough cash on me. I had to borrow
he had to
money
borrow
from
money
him.
from me. He still owes me that.
Do I? Yeah.
Biden's 38% approval rating at this stage in the calendar is lower than that of the last three presidents who went on to lose re-election. Trump, 48%, George H.W. Bush, 39%, and Jimmy Carter, according to Gallup survey data. Surrounded by protective aides who want to minimize the chances of a flub, the 81-year-old president has chafed at restraints that he sees as counter to his natural instincts as a retail politician, a third person familiar with the internal discussion said. Well, that jives with what we saw last week, where he wanted to take questions, and the aides were like, no, all right, back to the car. All right, the show's over.
Yeah.
All right, he thinks he's being held back.
No, don't worry, I got this. I've worked for years with Strom Thurmond. I want to talk about it at length. The crime bill that we did. Let me at him.
They've told these people what I'm all about, man. Come on. He has felt cocooned at times and has been eager to get out more, meet voters face to face, and take the fight directly to Trump, said the third person and fourth, also familiar with the matter, who, like others, spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss campaign strategy and the president's private views. There are signs that some within his party are also losing patience with him. Quote, Biden stood up in front of the whole world and said, I'm ready. I'm the guy who can take down Donald Trump, said Representative Adam Smith, Democrat from Washington. So he goddamn better well do it. We don't have time for him to be worried about whether or not people are saying things right or the poll numbers are what they should be. I want focused energy and not defensive anger. At times, Biden gets suggestions that conflict with one another.
Oh, does he? Like a president?
This is hilarious. This is my favorite part. Some advisors have told him he should walk faster out of concern that his gait feeds impressions that he's too old. And yet the White House...
I'm trying to show him I'm like a flock of lemur. I move sideways through the world.
He's got to channel his inner Safaka lemur. Right, exactly. Some advisors have told him he should walk faster out of concern that his gait feeds impressions he's too old. And yet the White House is sufficiently worried about him tripping that he has taken to boarding Air Force One via a shorter staircase through the belly of the plane, foregoing the iconic image of the president waving from the main doorway high above the tarmac. Listen, if you have a candidate in the race and your campaign team is having repeated arguments about, well, on the one hand, if he walks too slow, people are going to get the sense that he's old and weak. On the other hand, if he walks too fast, he's going to trip and fall on his face, and then we're going to have an even bigger problem. That means you have a candidate that's not viable. Like, if your team is arguing about how fast he fucking walks on a consistent basis, that's when the manager comes out of the dugout and takes the ball, and you put someone else in. That's why sports teams have a bench, because sometimes the players that they have in the game can't play the whole game. And so this is just far past the point where you can make the case that this guy has any business in the race, which is why I suspect they will try to get him out in some way. If these staffers really were afraid that Donald Trump is going to win, and this is, of course, one of the many, many problems in our system, is that politics is a gig. And the way you keep your gig and get a better gig on the next cycle is not by winning, but by playing ball.
Being a team player.
Being a team player. You play nice with your team. That's how you get hired. If you're a ball buster, you can't get hired again.
Look at fucking Donna Brazile. Donna Brazile never won anything.
No.
She never won shit. And she kept getting these fucking campaign management gigs. Now she's on, where is she now? CNN or Fox? Where is she?
I think she's Fox now.
She's on Fox now.
Perfect example. Someone
what did
who loses
she ever accomplish?
Loses, right. As long as you're nice, you'll get hired, right? That's the sort of corporate culture of both major parties, really. And that's all that matters to these people, because if it wasn't, if they were really afraid of Trump, don't tell me there aren't ways to force Joe Biden out of the race. How about this team, rather than argue every day, should he walk slower or faster? What if they say, hey, listen, we quit. You're not going to be able to hire a team of people if you stay in the race. You can run the race. You're going to have to run the race yourself. You're not going to have any staff. We are not working for you because this election is too important, right? They could say that. If they gave a shit, that's what they'd say. That's what they'd say. You can't have a candidate where you're fucking debating how fast he walks.
Or they would go to the press. They would go to the press and say, yes, it's as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where he is half the time.
Yeah.
He calls me Bo.
Right. I mean, that's kind of what they did here. Not exactly, not full stop. But yeah, they would walk out. They would walk out. Don't tell me there aren't ways to get him out of the race. There are. He's probably a little mad at himself for not being more forceful with the staff. A person familiar with internal discussion said, privately, Biden questions whether he should trust his gut instincts over the guidance coming from the array of advisors tending to his political interests, this person added. Well, you force the issue. You say if you want to stay in this race, you're going to have to trust your instincts because you're not going to be able to hire people to work for you. This is insane. This is ridiculous. We're out. That's how they could force him out if they want to. I wash my hands of it. I'm not voting for a fucking Democrat either way. So I'm just giving you some free advice here. But there is no way that this guy can run this race through November. No way.
Please clap.